Okay, Tom, I want to go over a random sample of swings during the week here for you. And your stated goal during the outset of the program was to be more consistent driving the golf ball. And that's a noble goal, of course. We all want to drive it straighter. The driver, interesting story about the driver is that it was called, before it was called a driver in Scotland many years ago, it was called the play club. And the reason it was called the play club is that was the club you used to get the ball in play with. And we all know that you can't play if you don't get the ball in play. So I agree that the drive should be your goal, should be, a primary objective for all of us to make our game a little bit more consistent. So then we look at, why are you inconsistent with the driver? Well, one of the things that happens for you is that you tend to play golf pretty much on the handsy side, where your hands do a lot of work in flipping the club over, and you're very flat-footed. So you have the golf club here. If we could extend it, it's pointed back here looking at the camera, and your body is not turning to face it. Right? So what I worked on all throughout the week was getting more rotation and less handwork. And they kind of go together. If your body's rotating, it's like the dog wagging the tail, right? If your body's rotating, you will have quieter hands. If you stand this flat-footed, keep the head down that long, and have the belt buckle and the belly button, the chest kind of facing down at the ball for too long without rotating it, your hands are going to kind of take over from there. And you can see where it finishes. Whenever you see someone, golf club, finishing up here over the shoulder and pretty vertically, it's because of a lack of rotation at the time of, impact. Now, if you look at your finish here, you never really get over to that left side with the head staying down far too long, which is another area you could consider working on, making some changes in, to get rotated more through the ball. That's really the bottom line of your work here that has to be done. I gave you the drill. One drill to help this would be to put those head covers under your arm and try to hit it, with no arms, and put your feet together and just try to feel that body. I need you to get a feeling, whatever way you could internalize this and come up with, that the club is stuck in your navel, and your hands are not connected to it. You're simply rotating through it, and your dog is wagging the tail. Your center inside is moving your outside. Okay, get the there's any words that would help you describe that effort is what I'm trying to get at. I'm more or less pointing at the problem here, because yours is one that has to really be felt out. As far as getting the club back is concerned, you really, you could have a little more shoulder turn at times, but when we look at this effort between now and the last time, when I reviewed your video from last time you were here, you definitely have more shoulder turn. And the good news is, if you were over the top, and I think you were because I looked at your video, you're no longer over the top. I mean, you're coming down from the inside. But that's only one side of the problem, right? The other side is that already at this point down, when your left arm is parallel to the ground, that's called halfway down, when you're there, this should already be coming up, and the heel should be coming up, and you should be beginning your turn to face the target. But we've got to get rid of some of the closed body, the static body, slow motion through the ball, and all hands doing it. And where we'd like to see when you send me your next video is at this point, I'd like to see everything going more over to the left. And then by here, you know, instead of increasing the distance out here and increasing the separation as you're doing here, that's a classic sign. Look how long your head stays down. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. It's like the reason that David Duval lifted his head early, Annika Sorenstam, Robert Allenby. You got another guy out there now, Ricky do it a little bit, or Spieth. There's a lot of weight in the head, and by keeping it down that long, it's hard to rotate it. And especially for you, for tall guys, you have to really feel that because your center of gravity is that much further from the ball than a guy, you know, a foot or 9 inches shorter than you, you have to really not let your, what we call your distal segments, your arms, your hand, the end of the club take over. So the critical area for you here is right in here. That you've got space, and let's go back to the beginning. You've got space here that you want to try to keep all the way throughout your swing. See the separation there? Now that can come from overly doing, you know, trying to swing from the inside. And as I said before, you are swinging from the inside. You're definitely coming more from in here. The thing we've got to do now is get the other inside to it. And that's provided entirely by keeping your elbows closer to your body and your body rotating to face your elbows and the club. So we want to get, instead of at this point, for example, the club pointing back here at us, the camera, we want to get you facing the club and getting the club moving more over this way with you. That's a long time to have that camera, to have that club in sight of the camera. So what we would want to do is get it more to the left and you more out of the road. Hands into the body, club left. Into the body, club left. Into the body, club left. So that's kind of what, you know, what we're trying to do is see that action there where there's so much more rotation through the ball. Sandra Gall, maybe? Here's that club exiting to the left, watch. Oh boy, it leaves that ball. It leaves that ball and it goes straight over to 10 o'clock. The body turning to face it. And here the club continues to go right down the line out to 1 or 12. And then it doesn't go over there until, and it still never gets over there. The club is a lot further left now than the body, as you can see there. So we want to get rid of that look as much as possible. And that would be your goal. That would be your goal. It's just a very hands-oriented motion. And once you get onto that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to incorporate your body into the changes. Okay, good luck with that.